there's no better education than getting out and seeing the world.
The experiences are what you're going to remember in the long run.
Getting out to see the world has just really opened my eyes to a lot of things.
I know a little bit about a lot of random things, and that's because of travel.
We're going to be able to learn so much about some really great destinations.
I'm excited about how this will improve our group itineraries.
I'm really looking forward to having great conversations about places. Welcome to Destination Dispatch.
Hello, I'm Jim Delleman with Group Travel Odyssey. I want to thank you for joining us again today. And before we get started learning about our destination of the day, I do want to remind you, please take a few moments to follow us on our social media channels. You can connect with us on LinkedIn. Make sure to like our Facebook page. And if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure to hit that little subscribe button down in the corner. And also, if you ring the bell, you'll be notified anytime we have new content on our YouTube channel. Well, today we've got a really, really fantastic destination, a place that I absolutely adore. And I could tell you 1,000 things about it, but we've got other people that will be doing that as well. We're going to learn about Santa Fe today. But before we get started with that, I'm going to bring on our co-hosts for today. Let's bring on our lead navigator from Group Travel Odyssey, Keith Snowd.
Hey, Jim.
Welcome back.
Hey, yeah, I know. You too.
Thank you. Thanks so much. And I think we should bring on this next gentleman who kind of held things together for us while we are gone. Gone. So let's bring on the host of Destinations Beyond Expectations podcast, Stevie G. Hey, Stevie.
What's up, guys? And happy National Hydration Day. I just wanted to throw that out there. It's an important message as summer is starting, so I'm glad to see you guys are all staying hydrated.
Yes, we are. Definitely have to do that. And
I think I saw a post the other day, for us that live in the South that said, it's hot outside. You need to stay in between the hours of 11 and November 2nd.
It's true.
Oh, goodness. Well, Stevie, thank you. And also thanks go out to Kara and to Taylor as well for co-hosting last week's episode of Destination Dispatch.
Yes, absolutely.
Keith and I were enjoying our respective time off.
Yeah, I think Jim and I are going to take vacation every other week, so you all can handle it. So,
all right.
Because after this show, I'm going to need to go to Santa Fe. So,
exactly, and that's the thing. I mean, honestly, Santa Fe is like nothing else that you're ever going to experience. And I could tell you 1,000 things about it, and I would still have thousands of more things to tell. But instead of me saying anything about it, why don't we bring on our guest? Does that sound good?
Let's do it.
This gentleman is the executive director at Tourism Santa Fe. Please, let's bring on Randy Randall. Hi, Randy.
Hey, guys. How are you doing?
Doing well.
Great.
Doing well. So we were just talking about, there are so many things to love about Santa Fe. What do you think what is it about Santa Fe that makes it such an appealing place for group travel or for just travel in general?
That's the interesting thing. There's not just one thing. There are an awful lot of destinations that are just one feature, but Santa Fe has 7, 8 really important components to its the pillars of its visitation. It's a culinary mecca. It's got history that goes back to 1610. It's the second oldest city in the United States. It's the oldest capital and the highest capital in the United States. It's got culture that has a blend of Anglo, Native American, Hispanic, and Mexican. It's got outdoor activities that rival anywhere in the country. Retail, and retail, performing arts. We've got world-class opera. We've got symphony. And all of this is in a community of 82,000 population. Visual arts, it's really the third largest art market in the United States with over 200 galleries. 100 of them right on Canyon Road that you can just walk from gallery to gallery to gallery and see not just Western art, but world-class art. I was in one yesterday, and I said, "Gee, I like that picture." And the owner of the gallery said, "Well, that's only $250,000." And I said, "Well, I think you'll be keeping that picture." But it was beyond what I could do. And we're a city of events. We've got over 100 events that happen here in Santa Fe annually, from the big events like Spanish Market, Indian Market, International Folk Art Market that's coming up on the 7th or 6th of July. Multiple art shows along with those. Santa Fe Wine and Chili that occurs the end of September every year. And we've got a kind of a local festival called Santa Fe Fiestas de Santa Fe. And that is the oldest continuous festival in the United States that's celebrated every year the weekend after Labor Day. We burn our cares with zozobra every year on the Friday of Labor Day, which is a 60-foot marionette that we write down all our cares and put it inside zozobra, and he gets burned, viewed by a group gathering of over 40,000 people. So there is just a huge range of reasons to come and enjoy Santa Fe. There's literally something for everyone.
So, Randy, it intrigues me that, from what I know about Santa Fe and what I continue to hear from people, is that for a city of under 100,000 folks, that per capita, you probably have more attractions and cultural opportunities and things like that than most cities your size, which is very unique to me from a group tour standpoint, because it's almost like you get this wealth of opportunity to do things in a city where you don't have to fight the congestion.
No, it's true. That's absolutely true. That's why our art market, compared to the two larger ones, which would be New York and Los Angeles, is so accessible. You can do it with your feet. If you really want to look at the art in New York, you need to rent a limousine, and it takes days. People can visit 100 galleries in a day in Santa Fe if that really is what you want to do, or you can just stroll along go to the heart of our historic district, the Santa Fe Plaza, and on the east side of the plaza is the Palace of the Governors, which is the oldest government building in the United States. And the Native Americans sit along in front of the palace under the portal, like they have for over 100 years, and offer art that is made either by themselves or by a member of their family. So you're assured of authenticity with it, but you're right. It's the accessibility along with the authenticity of what's offered in Santa Fe that makes it so remarkable.
Yeah, I was thinking this as you were talking, that it's accessibility on a whole new level. Like, it's just, you've got all of the cultural aspects of it there and all of the attractions and everything, but you have it in such an accessible way that you just can't. It's very unique to you. It's great.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And beyond all of that authentic stuff, we do create a few things ourselves. We've got we've got an interactive art experience in Santa Fe called Meow Wolf, and it has gotten national and international acclaim. In its first year, it was forecast to have, I think, about 250,000 visitors, and it had close to 800,000 visitors.
Wow.
Which means that 1 in 4 of people who came to Santa Fe went to Meow Wolf.
Wow.
And it's a converted bowling alley that was expanded and facilitated, interestingly, by one of our citizens, George R.R. Martin, who is the author of the work that Game of Thrones is based on. And George went to this group of 42 artists who wanted to build. They'd done some temporary installations. They wanted a permanent one, and said, "I'll buy that bowling alley if you convert it into this facility called now Meow Wolf." And now there's one in Denver, there's one in Las Vegas, there's one coming in Washington, D.C., I think, and one in Dallas going to be built too. So, but this is the mecca for the Meow Wolf crowd, and so that was created. We also have a margarita trail that is we claim that the margarita was created in Santa Fe. It's a little hard to document, but we think fair claim. And we now have a trail. You buy a passport that can be either paper or electronic. We charge all of $3 for that, just to make sure there's a commitment to the trail. And then you get stamps when you go to one of 46 restaurants to taste a unique margarita in that place. You get $1 off on the margarita. And when you get 5 stamps, you get a T-shirt. You get 10 stamps, you become a provisional member of the International Margarita Society that happens to be based here in Santa Fe. At 15, you get a lifetime membership. 20 stamps, you get a copy of an autographed copy of the Real Margarita book. And when you finally get to 30, that was our original number of restaurants that participated. You then have completed the trail and you get a in-home bartender kit for making margaritas. So we had a lot of fun with that. And you get all of that for a $3 investment. And the passports that particularly are fully transferable. I mean, the only rule is you can only have 2 stamps per day.
Okay.
You can have as many margaritas as you want, but you can only have 2 stamps per day. So we had to be a little socially conscious about it. So.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I mean, now you got to set the bar at 46. Like, what do you get with 46? You win a new car. You win a new car or something, or that $250,000 piece of artwork, maybe.
That's a good idea, Keith. But in fact, there is if you do totally complete the trail, we don't tell people what they're going to get, but we ask them what their favorite margarita was. And they tell us, and then we treat them to dinner and margaritas at that restaurant that night. So
that's cool.
We had a lot of fun with that.
That's great.
Excellent. Yeah. I think that sounds like a great idea for our next retreat, Keith.
Oh, I know. Every time we do one of these episodes, we find new ideas. We have retreats scheduled till 2035 or something like that.
And you could plan out your trail in the Gruet tasting room that's at the St. Francis Hotel in Santa Fe, and it's a great little tasting room. This is a spot that for people bringing groups, you can rent the tasting rooms for any size from 15 up to 75 people. Taste a flight of 4 of Gruet's incredible sparkling wines for $16. I mean, it's just a great spot. And Gruet wine is made here in New Mexico, and we're very proud of it.
Wow. You're speaking my language now, so that's fantastic.
You kind of mentioned this a little bit, Randy, but I just want to ask you about the culinary scene. If you want some food to go along with those margaritas, I know you guys have a very, vibrant culinary scene. In fact, you just had a chef win a prestigious award. Talk about, the food around Santa Fe a little bit more.
Yeah, thank you. It's a great variety of the food. It specializes in what we call northern New Mexico cuisine, and that incorporates red or green chili into the dishes. It's not Mexican; it's a version, if you will, of Mexican, but it's very northern New Mexican. But then we do have a couple of Mexican restaurants here in town. In fact, the chef that you just mentioned, Fernando Olea, was just honored as the James Beard Chef of the Southwest. And he is our second chef to win that award. The other, Mark Kiffin, is the owner-operator of the Compound Restaurant that's still got that northern New Mexican flair, but it's much more continental. It's pretty upscale. We have Italian restaurants. There are country French. There's classical French, and I mean, even the thing we're not really great on Chinese. That's one that's missing from us. But we even have 3 restaurants that specialize in fresh seafood. As far away as we are from the coast, they have seafood flown in daily, and it's just as good as you'll find on the coast. I'm probably better than what's in Orlando. Keith.
See, Keith? That means you need to get to Santa Fe.
Yeah, so. that was a Keith, get your butt out here.
Yeah. No, the food scene is really we've been recognized in many publications for the food scene in Santa Fe, and it's something that there's something for everybody. Are
a lot of those restaurants group friendly? Do you have a good variety of group friendly restaurants?
Oh, they are, and they're almost all locally owned and operated. We have very few there's almost zero branded restaurants in the historic district, and yet there are over 250 restaurants in Santa Fe. Again, this population under 100,000. And I like to laugh about the fact that Greater Santa Fe, which includes all of Santa Fe County, we get up to 140,000. So we really are a very small community with this amazing number of restaurants, 8 museums in the city that we mentioned before. The Santa Fe Opera is literally a world-class opera that operates from I think its kickoff is July 1st this year, and it runs through the 4th weekend of August, and then it goes dark. We celebrate Art Week during the 2nd week of July every year. Music Week is the last week of August every year. We kind of kick off music with the end of the opera, and then we can actually use that 2,400 seat indoor-outdoor facility for other music to share. All during the summer, 3 nights a week, we have free music on the plaza. 4th night, we do music over in the rail yard, and on a 5th night, we have music up on. Typically, it hasn't started again since the pandemic, but on Wednesday nights up at Museum Hill, there's a music venue, all free for the visitor to enjoy. We end those so that people still have time to go to one of our wonderful restaurants. And we start them just about when most of the retail is kind of closing down for the day. So there is not much downtime in Santa Fe unless you choose to have downtime. And then it's a great place to relax with. I think there are over 9 spas now that are located within the city, all open to not only the guests of, most of them are in hotels of the hotel, but open to the public as well. So it's a great place to rejuvenate and relax as well.
And for the more adventurous and actually bringing me to the point of Santa Fe is definitely a year-round location for people to visit. You guys also have a pretty vibrant ski scene around the area, don't you?
We do. We do. There's one thing missing from our skiing, though. There are very few lift lines. Because of the size of the ski area, but its capacity, what it's allowed to have go up and ski every day, is restricted by its parking. And so the problem is you get tired very quickly on Santa Fe skiing because you don't wait in line very long. You're actually out on the slopes, enjoying the slopes far more than virtually any other ski area that I've been to. So that's one of the great things of the ski area. It's about 30 minutes from Santa Fe. You head up into the mountains and you go through the most amazing aspen grove to get to the ski area. The base mountains at about 10,000 feet, and it gets up to over 11,000. Some of the runs do. So, and to mention, Santa Fe itself is at 7,000 foot elevation. Many people think that that Santa Fe is kind of this low and we don't use the word desert here, but deserty place, and it's not. It's in the most incredible pinon and cedar high desert location that is just spectacular. The air is clear, the skies are blue. Although yesterday we did have over 0.8 of an inch of rain, which is very unusual. We need it. We have a drought situation here, but we had over 0.8 of an inch of rain, which, if you think about it, is about 12% of our annual moisture that we get.
All in one day.
All
Wow.
in one day.
Well, at least you get it. At least you get it out of the way quickly, you know. So, I mean,
and you mentioned the winter time. In the morning, we'll many times wake up to snow, and by 11 o'clock, you could be on a golf course playing golf if you wanted to. So it doesn't stick with us too long.
That's fantastic. That is really fantastic. Well, we want to continue the conversation, and we're going to find out more about Santa Fe in just a couple moments. But first, how about a word about our partners from Stevie?
Group Travel Odyssey would like to take a moment to thank our amazing partners, including Book My Group, Travel Advocates, We Travel, Broadway Inbound, and Fly My Group. These partnerships help make business without boundaries possible, and we encourage our viewers to learn more about these wonderful companies. Now, back to Destination Dispatch.
Thank you for that, Stevie. And what we'd like to do now is I'm going to turn this over to Randy and Keith. And why don't you guys take us through a sample itinerary of things to do in Santa Fe?
Great. Thanks, Jim. And just to remind everybody that we upload these into GTO in this, the supplier manager under Santa Fe's listing in supplier manager. But we also take the trip templates, and they are available when you search trip templates in the Sales Manager app, so that you can use this information to build your next tour to Santa Fe. So we make it as easy as possible for you to use the information. But I'm going to let Randy talk about Santa Fe, and I'll be just the clicker guy here to help him through it. And Randy, I thought it might be good to talk about this picture first, about where this is.
Sure. We're looking down. This is on the end of San Francisco Street. That's the cathedral that's in Santa Fe. You notice the spires were never put on the cathedral. There are a lot of stories that are kind of fun about why that maybe didn't happen. La Fonda Hotel is what you see on the right. And that is right on the corner. And we're right on the corner of the historic plaza in the picture.
So I'm going to take you down to day 1 and day 2 here and let you have at it.
So here we're talking about the idea of just spending a little bit of time on your first day, getting acquainted with the area, getting out to definitely getting to the plaza and visiting that wonderful array of retail that the Native Americans offer, as well as shops all around the area. Dining, you can figure out where you want to eat. Our restaurants are quite busy as we get in season. And when I say in season, I'm really talking about May through October. And we don't have an off season anymore. The November through April is kind of our shoulder season now, but there are a lot of opportunities, a lot better opportunities to get into the restaurants, but you do need to plan that out in advance. Day 2, they're talking about here taking a tram or walking tour. And we do have a lot of both of those available, both with and without guides.
And you said that you said earlier when we started that Santa Fe is an incredibly walkable city, right?
It is. It really is. Now, we have lodging that's both in the historic district, that's downtown, but we do also have a lot of the limited service branded lodging out on Cerrillos Road. If you stay on Cerrillos Road, the rate is about 50% of what it is downtown in the historic district. But you do need to have a way to navigate from Cerrillos Road into the historic district. And then once you're there, then again, it's walkable. And then, we talk about the tip of when you do order, they will ask you what kind of chili you want. And the options are red, green, or Christmas. Christmas is the mixture of both red and green on whatever you've ordered, enchiladas or burritos or any of the wonderful New Mexican cuisine. Again, we keep talking about shopping here. I'm not seeing quite as much visiting of art galleries, which is not quite as much shopping, because again, the pricing is such that it's a lot of looking, and it's some of our galleries are just like going to an art museum, except that there's a price tag next to the piece of art. So that it's really interesting to visit those galleries. The museums that we have downtown, the O'Keeffe Museum was founded about, I guess 16, 18 years ago. And they have the largest collection of O'Keeffe work in the world. and they rotate that collection. So you see not only her finished works, but you can see a lot of her sketches and a lot of and some unfinished work that she actually left. This doesn't mention it, but you can also go up and visit the O'Keeffe home where she lived in Abiquiu, which is about 20 miles from Santa Fe, and it is an amazing place to go visit, particularly individuals or for a smaller group. The house is literally just as Georgia O'Keeffe left it. And then these other museums are mentioned here: the Museum of Art, the History Museum, the Palace of the Governors, and the IAIA Museum of Contemporary Native Art is all located in the downtown historic area. We've got a new museum, the Vladam Contemporary Art Museum, that's going to be opened in about 6 months. That is an expansion of the Museum of Art to allow the old art museum to just focus on the historic art and having the contemporary art in a new building that's over near the rail yard. Again, go ahead.
Are your museum, you have quite a concentration of museums. Are they in a distance where, with a group, you could offer some choices during a time and a group could be centrally dropped off and some people could go to one museum while other people go to others, since, or are they far enough apart that you might not be able to accomplish that?
No, there are really two concentrations. One is the downtown area where I just mentioned that group of museums. Then we have an area that you would need transportation to get to, and we do offer free shuttle transportation on the hour up to Museum Hill. On Museum Hill, there are 5 other museums. There's a Spanish museum, the Wheelwright Native Art Museum. There's a Native American Art Museum that is more a museum of Native American, if you will, as opposed to art, come to think of it. And then 2 other museums up there and a great restaurant that you can eat at up on Museum Hill. So Museum Hill can be an experience all of its own.
Great. And I, most museums, are group friendly, but do they offer guided tours as well as self-guided tours at most of the museums in the area?
They do. 5 of them are state operated. And they have an extensive docent program to take people to the museums. And what we haven't mentioned yet here, but I think I mentioned briefly, is a walk up or down Canyon Road. And again, the shuttle goes up and down Canyon Road on the hour, and you can start at the top and walk down, or you can start at the bottom and walk up and catch the shuttle at either end to get you back into the historic area. And on Canyon Road, there are over 100 art galleries that are all in. None of them are in galleries that they built as galleries. It was a residential street, and they're all old 100-year-plus private homes that were converted into galleries. A few restaurants along there, so you don't have to worry about finding a place to eat. And I can make a day out of Canyon Road easily. It's almost undescribable, and we don't have good pictures of it because it's hard to photograph. Again, it's such an expansive, long, narrow grouping of galleries. It's exciting.
Well, and you mentioned earlier the Margarita Trail, but I'm seeing 2 things here that really make me happy, which is the Coffee Lovers Tour, which I'm sure Stevie G is already narrowed in on, and and the Chocolate Trail, which I want to understand a little bit more about. You combine those with like a food truck tour you see on here, and I'm starting to get into this a lot. So,
and a lot of the chocolate. I mean, everybody has chocolate, but we have chocolate that incorporates pinon. We have chocolate that incorporates red chili. We have chocolate that incorporates green chili, and so it's got a southwestern flair to it that, as well as the chocolate that you find everywhere. But it's all made here in Santa Fe, and it's terrific.
And let's start. Is coffee like you don't do you grow coffee out there? Is this just a unique thing for Santa Fe?
No, we don't grow it, but there's a lot of one-of-a-kind coffee houses here. Again, we do have the Starbucks, but there are a lot. There's 4 or 5 downtown coffee houses that make their own blends, and it is a coffee lover's opportunity.
There you go, Stevie G.
I'm in. I'm sold.
You're not a decaf guy, huh?
No,
Yeah, well,
no decaf.
No, Randy, he's always got a coffee in his hand everywhere I see him. So, and then
it was great that you mentioned that it's National Hydration Day, because that is one thing. Our climate is dry, and remaining hydrated is very important. Once in a while, people forget that, and they regret it. It's very important to stay hydrated on water as well as the Margarita Trail.
Talk to me a little bit about the miraculous staircase here. I'm intrigued by this.
It's a stairwell that was built by an individual who showed up at the Loretto Chapel one day. They needed a stairway to go up to the second deck, and this individual built this stairwell with no nails, no screws, only dowels, and to hold it together. And then he left. And the sisters of the Loretto Chapel were going to compensate him for it, and he left without that compensation. So it's as mysterious how it was created as how it continues to stand without any type of nail or screw or other supports to keep it in place.
Wow, that's incredible. That's incredible.
Yeah.
And
then the bell tower there at La Fonda is a great spot. La Fonda is a 5-story building. That's as tall as any building is in Santa Fe. And up on top, they have this wonderful outdoor cocktail and snack area called the Bell Tower that you get great views looking out over the city. The city is I love to say it's various shades of brown. It's all adobe construction, and it's been controlled by the very first district control of the history of a community in the United States. I think it came into being back in the 20s, and it's a great view of Santa Fe from the bell tower.
That's fantastic. So, you work with a lot of people that bring groups into Santa Fe. What is the one or maybe even two things that you think that groups consistently overlook when they come to visit Santa Fe?
Oh, overlook. I think it's actually getting out into a Native American experience in one of our pueblos. In the northern New Mexico, we have 8 pueblos. There are 23 tribes that are in New Mexico, but 8 pueblos are within 100 miles of Santa Fe. And these are pueblos where people live, and it's just the way it was 200 years ago.
Wow.
Each one of our pueblos have at least one annual feast day. On that feast day, there's dancing, and you're encouraged, if you see an open door, you walk into that door, and they're serving lunch in their kitchen usually of traditional native fare, which goes everything from beans and rice and corn dishes to Jello and cottage cheese and sliced hams, and you're invited to sit down, enjoy the meal, and then you can leave, and somebody else takes your seat. And there's no charge for any of these feast days. There are some rules you have to respect. There's no photography allowed. But these are, it's a rare opportunity to see a native tribe dancing for their own purposes, not as a show, but you're allowed to come in and see that happen. So the feast days, I think, I'm amazed that more tours don't come into Santa Fe scheduled in conjunction with one of the feast days. And we have the dates of the feast days are all at santafe.org, which is our primary website, santafe.org. And the date is the same every year.
And I should mention that the itinerary we've gone through is on your website as well, santafe.org, along with some other itineraries. But that feast day sounds like a truly immersive experience. Like you couldn't get more immersive than that. That's incredible.
And it is, as I mean, it is absolutely authentic. I mean, it is done the same way it was done 100 years ago. And
Wow.
and it is a very serious thing for the members of the tribe that whichever feast day it is. So, yeah, it is an absolutely amazing experience that I even shake my head and say, why don't I get out there more often to visit one of these feast days? Because every time I do, I see something I hadn't, I meet someone I hadn't. The elders of the tribe run these feast days, and it's just, it is an absolutely one-of-a-kind experience.
Wow. I want to thank you for going through the itinerary and sharing with us everything about Santa Fe, because it's just incredible. I'm ready to hop on the plane now.
And
so I'm gonna.
Part of Tourism Santa Fe is we have members of my team that are available to help a tour guide or tour planner plan this thing out. So the itineraries always understate what you can do, and so we've got people that can work with it. We have 3 information centers throughout the city that are available for people while they're in Santa Fe. And if they're looking for, if they've run out of something to do, they can go into any one of those 3 visitor centers and get help figuring out what the next thing is to do.
That's fantastic. And I know you've already given us the web address, but if you would want to do that one more time, how can they find out more information and also get in touch with you and the itineraries? How can our viewers do that?
santafe.org.
Excellent.
Santa Fe, SANTAFE.org, O-R-G.
That's fantastic. And actually, I spent quite a bit of time on that site, which is where I've learned very, very much about the Margarita Trail. And so thank you for bringing that to my attention. But also,
just a little fact on the Margarita Trail. Right now there are over 27,000 people at some point of the Margarita Trail.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We got to get out there.
Wow.
I got to join the trail. So.
That's right.
Randy, thank you so much for joining us today and giving us some really fantastic information about Santa Fe. And there are a lot of new ideas out there now for people who are planning their tours and to bring people in. So thank you so much for joining us, Randy.
Thanks, Jim. It's my pleasure. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Well, just a reminder that Destination Dispatch does happen on Thursdays, and we try to bring you some of the most fantastic places and find out more information so you can plan unique experiences for your groups. As well as that, we do have another program called GTO Coach and Go. GTO Coach and Go happens on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern time as well. And that's where we bring on some of the experts from our team to take you through some of the functionality and some of the improvements and things that are happening within the GTO system itself. And if we want to find out more about Group Travel Odyssey and GTO, Keith, how can they go about doing that?
Great. Well, you can go to grouptravelodyssey.com and find out more about us. I also encourage you to, as Jim said earlier, visit our YouTube page, our YouTube channel, because we have lots of videos out there from Coach and Go, from Destination Dispatch, and other tools out there where you can learn a lot about GTO and what we do to help tour operators. I might also mention that I occasionally do this thing called Business Navigator, and we do have something coming up where I'm going to tackle that wonderful topic about supplier pricing and how suppliers update their pricing for the following year. We're going to have some people join us. And so be on the lookout for announcements about that, because it's coming soon. And I know that from a tour operator standpoint, everybody wants to understand how the mystery of supplier pricing happens. So we're going to talk about that together.
Oh, yes. And that is a big question that comes up, I would say, more frequently than any other question that we get asked is always about, when is the new pricing coming out? So that will be That will be very important for people.
Yes.
Stevie, if we want to find out more about Destinations Beyond Expectations, what can we do?
Of course. Yep. Destinations Beyond Expectations is a podcast I host. It's the podcast designed for students of travel. Each week we cover a different travel topic or review a specific destination. And you can listen to the podcast on the website, dbetravel.com, or you can even go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are available, and make sure to subscribe to the show. So this week we are going to North Carolina. The episode drops tomorrow, and we're covering things to do in Asheville, North Carolina, which is such a cool place, just like Santa Fe. So,
yep, beautiful. Well, thank you so much for that. And once again, a big shout out of thanks to Randall from Tourism Santa Fe for giving us all some really fantastic information and some more places for us to visit on our next vacations too. So, so gentlemen, again, it's great to be back with you and hosting this. And until next week, that's all we have. Thank you.
Stay hydrated.
Thank you for watching this episode of Destination Dispatch. We invite you to stay connected with Group Travel Odyssey on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, and be sure to check out more of our media, including GTO Coach and Go and the Destinations Beyond Expectations podcast. Please visit our website, grouptravelodyssey.com, where you can learn more about GTO and request a demo. Group Travel Odyssey, business without boundaries.